Most people, and including myself, my story, I went through the normal rut where I went to school, I went to uni, I got a job, and you basically start this career path, and that's meant to be the way it's meant to be. And you get to a point where you start questioning things, and you think, well, am I really happy doing what I'm doing? Am I satisfied? Is this what life is all about? And am I passionate doing what I'm doing? And a lot of people, like you quite rightly said, are not very passionate. There are a lot of people that turn up to work every day. They're just going through the motions, and unfortunately they're dissatisfied. Their work productivity is low. They're not achieving their goals. They're not passionate anymore. And if you're not passionate, you can't do your best work.
Absolutely.
It's not an easy thing to do, but at some time I think you need to take a step back and just go, look, am I on the right track?
Let's talk about when this is most likely to occur. It's always been, the old maxim used to be about a midlife crisis, when people decide that they've been in the rat race for too long, it was never what they wanted to run. But I personally experienced this. Apparently the age of 28 is also a key one, where people see 30 approaching, they realise that this isn't actually what they wanted to do, and then to make the jump. But it can be financially disastrous.
Yes.
How do you make sure that you've got your chickens in a row, as it were, to make sure that even if you make that jump, you don't end up doing yourself in financially?
Really, really good point. Well, I think you've got to know where you're headed. So you could be in a job that's paying really well, for example, and it's really hard to leave that because you're now financially committed, right? And if you do leave to do something that's a bit more risky, and you're not a risk-averse person, you could set yourself up for a downfall. You don't want to do that. So I think the really key thing to do is know where you want to go, do a bit of pre-planning. Don't just jump the boat, because that can be disastrous, right? And if you know where you're going, you can actually stage this, you can transition out. And one of the things I talk about in my book is how to actually transition. It doesn't have to happen overnight. It's something that can happen over the next few months, maybe even 2-3 years, but you can plan it out.
Do you involve your current employer in that conversation, or is that likely to stall whatever career trajectory you're currently on?
Really
if you go and say, I've made a terrible mistake, it is you, it's not me, but I'm going to jump, that's going to probably cause problems with your existing employer. So how do you do that transition as smoothly as possible to make sure that you are heading in the direction you want to head in while not sabotaging your current career?
I think that's a really good point as well. You've really got to do this tactfully. Not all employers want to know about your future ambitions to leave them. So, look, it really depends. Depends on the environment you're in, depends on who you're talking to. If you've got someone that's really supportive, like a mentor or someone that's been guiding you for a few years, and they know that you want to go down a certain path, you can plan this ahead of time, and they know your commitment levels. But at the end of the day, if you're not happy where you are, there's no point staying. And if you can see that ending up in the next 10 years or 20 years in a certain area is just going to lead you down the wrong path, and you're going to be dissatisfied, last thing you want to do is get to your final days in life and go, I wish I'd tried something, I wish I'd done that.